You think you have enough screens until
you don't. Let's turn it again.
Go.
Move his camera back to him.
Good evening, and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we are live from Studio Vanguard, and we are linked in with the following repeaters. Which repeaters are we following?
Well, your camera is certainly not following you. The repeaters we are linked into is Flagship, Noonan, Jersey, Rome, Toccoa, Columbus, Lula, Watkinsville, Ocala, Florida, Dallas, Chattanooga, Lookout Mountain, Fort Mountain, Ottawa, Georgetown, and of course our VoIP service, Zello.
Tonight, our RF coverage is approximately 11.4 trillion cubic miles. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone, and that would be all of you, who've made the North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 946, WQYR 514. My name is Justin.
Dallas 20, WRKT 728. My name is David.
I am WRWM 344, Blue Ridge 63. My name is Mike.
And Atlanta 750, WRMR 367. My name is Jeff. And our remote studio guest is
Miss Kate, WRMR 367, Atlanta 751.
David, you paused there for a moment like you weren't quite sure who you were.
I did.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. It's been a long day.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing because there's no rabbits in this hole.
No, there's not.
Right.
I'm out of my burrow.
On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we'd like to hear. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Once the floor is open... Oh, I missed a line. Guest check-ins are welcome from anyone with a valid FCC call sign. Is that new? Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and sign out of the net. Tonight's topic. What are we talking about tonight?
I thought you were going to cancel the net.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
So tonight's topic is April Fool's jokes and practical pranks and practical jokes that, I mean, most construction sites and automotive shops and all those kinds of things, that doesn't take April Fool's Day. That's just every day. And then, of course, there's Justin, which is also an everyday event.
Well, you know, that is kind of the April Fool's joke, because you thought I was going to be out of town, but yet here I am.
Well, yeah, we picked this topic planning on you be out of town, but I guess the joke's on us.
There you go. All right, well, let's find out what's going on, and let's catch up with Kate.
Good evening. This is WRMR 367, Atlanta 751. My name is Kate from high atop Mount Waleski, live in Studio C, with this week's Catch Up with Kate, the latest NGGMRS sauce. GMRS news that we can all relish. The annual Smith Family North Georgia GMRS barbecue gathering at LL Farm will be on Saturday, April 20th. Gates open at 10 a.m., so please don't plan to arrive any sooner. The road is small, and there is no place to park while we wait for the gates to literally open. Best to be a few minutes later and make way to keep the road clear. Anyone who has made a reservation and cannot attend should notify in an email to nggmrsevents@gmail.com. Please, if you have not already, indicate from your party who will be attending and who will not. We'd also like an accurate list so that name tags can be made for all of those who are in attendance. Also, those on the waiting list can be contacted and invited to attend if you or someone in your group is not able to attend. At this time, let's see if Mr. Gainesville 285 CV Smith is available with the latest update. CV, are you out there?
Oh, he's out there.
Well, I had to give you a pregnant pause there, Kate, just to make you wonder. But, yes, Gainesville 285 and Gainesville 286 are here. Okay, well, you put it very well. I'll restate a couple of things. There's a 300 hard cap on the number of people to be on the property for this event per the fire marshal. So we are keeping very close tabs on RSVPs. Let me break. At this moment, we have 293 RSVPs. So we're getting close to a point where it's possible that we might have to put people on a waiting list. And we're talking about the event happening 3 weeks from this coming Saturday. If anyone, I would encourage people to check their email and where you sent us a number, you know, like a party of 3 or party of 4, party of 2, whatever. If any of that has changed, please let us know. We're making corrections up and down constantly, daily. And that's where we get to 293. So I want people to be able to enjoy the barbecue. I don't want people coming in there unannounced because they may be sitting on the side of the road. Anyway, chat radio is going to be there with items to give away. Gary, Atlanta 60 is giving away items. Primary tag number holders will be given tickets for drawings on free prizes. So it's going to be a great event. Just a lot of stuff going on. So thank you for the time, and we look forward to seeing everyone on April 20. Gainesville 285, WRKN 234. I'll be clear.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, CV, Gainesville 285, for that update. We greatly appreciate it, and I know a lot of us are looking forward to it. Should be a great time. And now for some more tasty news. The next McDonough breakfast will be Saturday, March 30th at 9:30 in Stockbridge. For location and more secret details, email Bruce McDonough39 at whiskeyrobinnancy338@gmail.com. We also have the West Side Luncheon. This lunch will take place on the second Saturday of every month. The first get-together was a lot of fun, and all are welcome to attend this luncheon at the Taco Mac in Marietta. The address is 2650 Dallas Highway, Suite 110 in Marietta. For anyone who would like to attend, please be sure to RSVP with an email to rabbithole@nggmrs.org. This allows them to contact the restaurant to have enough seating available for everyone who would like to join. And in some non-food related news, the Rabbit Hole Net will be this coming Monday, April 1st. No joke. Be sure to tune in for whatever topic flares up. Solar flares and how to prepare for them. This is a great topic in light of current events. The next Skywarn Net will be Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. The Skywarn Net will be discussing tropical weather systems and how it impacts our local weather. So come hang out with us Tuesday night, April 2nd at 7 p.m. These are training nets, so please check in and be prepared to participate. Please have your computer handy so that you can follow along during this net. More information and training materials can be found at noaa.gov/ /Jetstream. Also, tune in March 26th for a mock training event. Is today not March 28th? I believe we're 2 days late on that. Let's skip that. If you have any interest in Skywarn and are not a Chattanooga area resident, you can find a local Skywarn group near you. Skywarn nets are on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. only on the northern segment of our North Georgia GMRS network. Let me break. And be sure to tune in Friday at 9 for the Simplex Challenge. Even if you're out of range of the ball ground repeater, you should engage in the Simplex exercise and find out what your Simplex coverage is and who your Simplex neighbors are. In the event of a real disaster, this could be vital information, and it's another fun way to engage in radio. Look for more information on Facebook or call out to Dana ATL 250 sometime before the challenge for some more details. The North Georgia GMRS KidsNet airs the second Saturday evening of every month at 7 p.m. The KidsNet is for family members of North Georgia GMRS network members or licensed guests. I would like to thank all the parents who make the effort to engage their children in the magic of radio. This net is for youth only, 18 and under. However, parental guidance and coaching is allowed and expected. If you have any questions, suggestions, or spicy announcements for us to catch up on, send me a note at kate@nggmrs.org. We are North Georgia GMRS Network. This is WRMR 367, Atlanta 751. My name is Kate. And now it's time for Julie's tips. What do we have for this week's tips, Julie?
Net Control, this is Gainesville 285 with a comment right quick, please. I think you'll appreciate it.
Gainesville 285, go ahead with your comment.
It doesn't sound like Julie.
Appreciate it, Justin. I omitted that at the barbecue on April 20th, we'll also have a lot of merchandise available from the North Georgia GMRS store.
That would be me.
Compliments of Kate. And so everyone can look forward to purchasing whatever they need in North Georgia GMRS merchandise. Thank you very much. Gainesville 285, WRKN 234, be clear.
Definitely
Apologize
clear that
for the
out.
interruption.
Very good. Kate, do you have anything to add with regard to what might be available in the way of merchandise at the barbecue?
Thank you, Justin. So we're trying to clear out the North Georgia GMRS t-shirts as well as long sleeve North Georgia GMRS and Rabbit Hole t-shirts so that we can make way to order some new swag. Yes, I do have, I believe, 1 or 2 more polos and a beanie and some decals, but looking to get rid of as much stuff as I can so that I can order a whole new group of all new products. So thank you.
Well, fantastic. And for those that already have the classic North Georgia GMRS apparel, it's kind of cool to see so many people wearing the big green marble and sporting the graphics on the back, whether it be a Rabbit Hole shirt or a North Georgia GMRS a shirt. There's a lot of cool things, and it's just neat to see so many people wearing that. And obviously, it's not required, but it is a neat thing. So if you have that, please wear it. And if you don't have it, then see if your size and shape is available at the barbecue. What shape would that be?
Regular.
Round is a shape.
Regular or tall?
Round is a shape. So yes. Very good. Very good stuff. All right. Well, thank you, Kate. What's next?
Julie's tips. So let's see what Julie has for us after a quick reset of the repeaters.
This is WQIR 514, Atlanta 947. My name is Julie with this week's new user tips and operating procedures segment. This week we will talk about plain language communications. One of the barriers to two-way radio involvement is mic fright. Just being nervous about saying the wrong things if you push the push to talk button. This is probably the number one reason we hear from family members who won't come on the air. And one of the comments we often hear is, I just don't know the lingo. We encourage plain language communications. There is no need for words such as Roger or over or any of those radio terms we see on TV. And there's no room for CB lingo on the North Georgia GMRS network. The culture and language that comes from CB is typically not family friendly and is unwelcomed on the network. Once you've given your ID, conversations on the radio should be as simple as talking at the dinner table or over the phone, with a few exceptions. At the dinner table, a comment can be responded to immediately, as soon as the thought enters our head. On the radio, we have to hold our thoughts until the other person is finished speaking because only one person can hold the repeater at a time. So we have to wait for that person to finish their transmission. Then we should pause before speaking to allow for someone else to insert themselves into the conversation by commenting in. We do this by pausing briefly before pushing the push to talk button. Why do we wait? Most importantly, we wait to allow another user with an urgent message to insert themselves in the conversation and get their message heard and get them help if needed. Another reason we wait is to allow for other users who want to participate in the current conversation to do so. The airwaves are open to all licensed GMRS users, and we want to foster an inclusive environment and welcome comments anytime. We also wait because of the time it takes for the linking system to engage all of the repeaters. The extra moment we give before speaking ensures our first syllables won't be cut off when we transmit our message. But other than pausing before jumping right in and speaking, it's just like a normal conversation. Let me break. Terms such as Roger or over are completely unnecessary. In FM radio, they serve no purpose. It's pretty obvious when a transmission ends, so there's no reason to declare it. Other words are prohibited because it doesn't foster family-friendly communications. There should be no mistake that we are different, and we remain different by maintaining an obvious difference in the manner in which we communicate. In general, conversations should be held on the network as if children are listening. Conversations you would never have in front of your kids or grandkids have no place on this network. Sensitive conversations such as disputes, discussions of politics, religion, or any uncomfortable, divisive topics should be moved off air or avoided altogether. North Georgia GMRS has always encouraged family participation on the network, and we invite you to get your family involved every week on our nets. We also hold a monthly kids net specifically geared towards getting our smallest family members on the air. This is a great opportunity to share your love of radio with your youngest family members. These are just a few of the preferred practices of North Georgia GMRS members, And these procedures are how we become the best operators on the nation's largest, most advanced linked repeater network. And remember, if you have any questions or suggestions for new user tips and operating procedures, send me a note at julie@nggmrs.org. We are North Georgia GMRS Network, and this is WQIR 514, Atlanta 947. My name is Julie. Good night, everyone.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Julie, and good night to you. And appreciate those comments. And yeah, family-friendly communications and plain language is really all that's necessary on the network, and that's the way we like to have it. Who's got the PTT down?
I do. You done?
Yeah. All right. With that, I think we're going to go ahead and continue with check-ins. I'm kind of blown away because we had some technical challenges right at the beginning, and we were a minute or two late starting early check-ins, and we just kind of called out to take check-ins, and they came in a wonderfully slow pace and one at a time, and that was unusual and fantastic, and congratulations to all of you who made the early check-in roster, because I wish it would happen like that all the time. So great job. At this time, we're going to take Zello check-ins. We only got one the first time around, so let's see if there are any other Zello check-ins. Zello check-ins only, please. If you have a radio in your hand, please wait and do not check in until we call for radio check-ins. Right now, we want check-ins on the telephone app. VoIP, Zello check-ins only, please. Net Control standing by. It's garbage.
It's hot.
This is WR024 Atlanta 31. Ron in Ackworth, checking in and checking out.
Sorry, I was on.
Oh, you're okay.
I wonder how that sounds on the live stream.
Just a habit. Go ahead.
I didn't know if you were.
Oh, a little bit of both.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Lisa says choppy.
Yeah, Lisa just responded to you. She heard you.
Okay.
Oh, Ron was Zello. I will mark him as such. Oops. Sounds bad. Yeah. Getting a couple.
All right, Ron, Atlanta 3-1. We've got you in the log here. We're going to take one more break for Zello check-ins. We're going to leave an uncomfortable pause here in case anybody's trying to fight with that PTT button. So Atlanta 3-1. Ron in Ackworth is in and out by way of Zello. One more call for Zello check-ins. Zello only, please. All right. They're learning, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. Appreciate everybody holding their RF traffic for Zello users. We just got Ron, and we had Houston earlier, So we'll take that and run with it. At this time, we're going to continue with check-ins from any repeater other than flagship.
Come on.
Anyone who'd like to check in on any repeater other than the flagship machine, please call Net Control now.
This is Chattanooga 110, WROT 224. I'm checking in and checking out tonight, but I will be monitoring for a while.
This is WRX 8279, Chattanooga 118, checking in.
Did I hear geese?
119.
That's what it sounded like. I think 118.
This is
118.
I think.
Yeah, I heard 118.
This is WROB 245, Atlanta 848, Ernest, Atlanta 849, Pamela, in Duluth. Checking in, checking out. Have a great net, everyone. This is WROV 544, Atlanta 1140, Troy and Covington on the Jersey repeater.
I think
Checking
I heard
in,
589 in there, too.
checking out, and monitoring. Thank you.
You heard Atlanta 589?
I thought I did.
This is WRQV 762, Gainesville 44, Joe in Cleveland, Georgia, checking in and out.
Here he is.
This is WRTI 560, Atlanta 589, Don in Kennesaw, check me in and out.
I thought I heard him.
This is WRKJ 453, Chattanooga 69, Ronnie in Las Vegas, checking in and out, guys. But we'll be monitoring. Have a great one. This is Gainesville 76, WRUH 751, checking in and checking out and monitoring.
And CW5.
This is
BR54.
Mm-hmm.
This is WRBT 591 BR549, Uncle Mike of Brown Cherry Log, checking in, checking out, but I'll soon be checking in over on the YouTube live stream. Sounds like it's going to be a great night, guys. Have fun.
All right, let me go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins. We had Chattanooga 110, James in Ringgold is in tonight. Chattanooga 118, Stewart in Eastridge also in tonight. And we have a run of in and outs. We have Atlanta 848, Ernest in Duluth is in and out, as well as Atlanta 849, Pamela in Duluth, in and out. We heard Atlanta 1140, Troy in Covington, in and out. Gainesville 44, Joe in Cleveland, in and out. Atlanta 589, Don in Kennesaw is in and out. Chattanooga 69, Ronnie, the Velvet Elvis What is that? How does that go? From Las Vegas, Ronnie is in and out. We have Gainesville 7-6. John in Gainesville also in and out. We heard CW5. Cynthia in Comer. Was Cynthia in and out? There was a
That's
double
what
there.
we've got in the log.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was a double.
I'm not sure if Cynthia was in and out. Let's mark her as in, and then Cynthia, if you're not there when we come to you, that's fine. But we got you marked as in for now. And we had Uncle Mike from up around Cherry Log. That would be BR549. Is in and out. He's going to hang out with us on YouTube. So, and thanks for bringing that up, Mike. For those that are unaware, we are live streaming, so you can check us out on the YouTube channel and watch from there. One thing that that folks should be aware of: if you are watching the live stream, there's a bit of a delay. I don't know how much it is. It's somewhere between a few seconds and 18 minutes. But in any case, if you're watching the live stream and we call on you for a check-in, that happened minutes ago and you missed it. So the only way that you can participate on the air is to participate on the air. If you just want to watch the live stream and not come on the air, like Bobby and Joe, they're over there hanging out watching a live stream, and so they've figured out it's really hard to watch the live stream and be able to maintain your understanding of where we are in the queue. So just a word of warning: we'd love to have you on the air, but if you're going to watch the live stream, you'll miss your call out when we come to you. So,
and if you're going to watch the live stream, please hit the like button. We got 18 people watching us now, and only 7 likes.
Yeah, that like button is real powerful to us. So we really appreciate likes and subscribes, and also comments. When you make comments on the live stream, that shows YouTube that you're interacting with the content, and that carries a little bit of clout.
And it gives Mike something to do.
Well, and speaking of which, we have a few YouTube check-ins that we should acknowledge.
Oh, did I miss all of those? It looks like I missed quite a few. So let me acknowledge. So it looks like Dallas 16, Michael.
That's right.
Is a YouTube check-in. We had a WSBC 635 is Terry from Menlo. Terry is a YouTube check-in, and a brand new member.
He just signed up today, he said.
Fantastic. Waiting for his TAC number. Let me break. Also, we've got CV Smith, Gainesville 285. We've got him in the log from his comments earlier, as well as Gainesville 286. Lynn in Murrayville is in and out. Looks like we have CW8, Robert in Colbert is a YouTube check-in, as well as Atlanta 263, Roger from Dunwoody is also a YouTube check-in. Did I miss any?
I think that's all that we've got so far.
Okay, so yeah, if you'd like to check in by commenting on the YouTube channel, we are watching out for those, and we have a person tasked to do that because
the director of roll call.
There's no way I could keep up with all of that. So it's fortunate we have enough people in here to make all of the plates spin in unison. So.
We've gotten 3 more since you said that.
Fantastic. All right.
And a whole bunch more likes. So
once we get them in the log,
that.
we've got one more round of check-ins to take as well, because we haven't taken check-ins off of the flagship machine. So we're going to take check-ins at this time from any repeater anywhere, including the flagship machine. So go ahead with this last round of check-ins. We'll take one more round at the end of the program. So if you don't get in this time, there's still a shot. Net Control, standing by.
This is...
You go ahead and take those. Right.
This is WRUF 788, Dallas 49. Doug in Hiram. I will be in and out tonight. Thank you.
W40, WRX system up 2. I'll be in and out tonight.
CW40? Is that what you heard?
I'm not sure.
I didn't get it. have to go to tape.
Is it?
This is
Maybe.
That looks right.
BRVG 415, Atlanta 11, John in Canton / Woodstock. Please check me in and out.
There's an empty row, a couple above that we can fill
Okay.
for a duplicate check-in that I took out. It was 40.
Okay.
Was he in and out or in?
In and out.
In and out.
All right, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff in logging. We have to sometimes go to the tape to verify what we've got.
Yeah, we got whole rabbits tonight,
Whole
free
rabbits.
salads.
There we go.
I think David's just trying to be a net hog. He wants to be on 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
Right?
The rock star of nets.
It's got to break a record, right?
Got to be on the live stream, got to be on the Simplex net, and do his own all in a row.
Yeah.
How many nets can you be involved in 1 week?
All right. Well, David, why don't you go ahead and acknowledge this last round?
Where we at? Chet 97?
Yeah.
All right. So we had Chet 97. Anthony in Ringgold on YouTube is in and out. Then we had Atlanta 145. Stephen in Marble Hill on YouTube in and out. Then we had Cades Cove 80. Eric in Rotwood on YouTube is in and out. Then Dallas 49. Douglas in Hiram is in and out. Then CW40. Robert in Nicholson is in and out. Then Atlanta 11. John in Canton is in and out. And then I don't know who these next three are. Dallas 21. Lisa in Rockmart on YouTube is in and out, along with Dallas 22. Seth in Rockmart is in and out. And then Dallas 23. Belinda in Rockmart on YouTube in and out.
That's pretty cool that that they're checking out the net and you're not even there to coerce them.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like they know what to do.
Well, it's like they have an interest beyond yours.
They do.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Is that another YouTube check-in?
Yeah, just now.
The Angry Hobbit.
All right. Yeah, so that's Atlanta 60. The Angry Hobbit is checking in on YouTube from Noonan.
We're not live.
Oh.
You got to push that switch on the floor.
That's
the one.
The switch on the floor in order to broadcast. All right. Well, he's going to get checked in again, Atlanta 60. Gary, the Angry Hobbit from Noonan, is in and out. And we have another YouTube check-in, Rome 12. Mark in Rome, a YouTube check-in. Well, he has to be in and out.
Oh, yep, there
I
we
know
go.
that he's not marked that way, but
Right.
there we go. Okay. All right, so that's what we have. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and start the program off.
Wait a minute. Did you see the coincidence? Atlanta 60 is number 60 on the log?
Well, that is interesting. Was that done on purpose?
No.
Meant to be.
We do have that blank line there at 52. How'd that happen?
We missed one.
Well, we had a duplicate.
Oh, a duplicate. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll have to stuff somebody in that 52 slot. Whoever checks in next can be out of order.
Besides the net controllers?
Right. Well, I'm always out of order, so we'll have that. All right, we're going to go to the top of the roster here, and tonight's topic is, well, we've got April Fool's Day coming right around the corner, so we wanted to talk about any great pranks or stunts that you've pulled or have been pulled on you. And any good stories that have come about from that. I can think of one right now, an April Fool's prank that came a few days early. Dallas 20 was driving home and ran into the Woodstock joke of traffic.
Right.
And decided to come over here instead of going home. And probably by the time we finish up tonight, it'll be an easy drive over to
I probably would still not be home if I was driving home.
So I'm glad to have you in the studio with us tonight. And yeah, David, do you have any stories of holiday or
April Fool's
Day
tomfoolery.
pranks, or pranks that you pulled on other dates, because I have a hard time containing all of my pranks and gags into one day.
You don't have enough time in that one day to get them all through.
Right. Well, since I am in construction, we kind of mess around a lot. Not as much nowadays, because a lot of people are more sensitive nowadays. So the jokes have really subsided. But, from putting grease in people's tool belts and other things like that, it didn't have to be April Fool's for us to act like a fool.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Grease in the tool belts reminds me, my first marriage with the practice wife. Jeff says we have to break. We'll be right back.
So
They're going to make me find the push to talk.
Well, I was asking.
All right. I know it's down there somewhere. All right. Back to that my first wife, the practice wife, when we got married, the best man, when it was time for me to get the ring from the best man, I looked around my shoulder, and he's standing there beside me, and he holds his hand out, and in his hand is this pile of goop. I have no idea what this goop is, and right in the goop is the wedding ring. And so, I'm not quite sure what to do with this. And so, the pastor's talking about this and that, and I as he's talking, I grab the ring out of that pile of goop that's in his hand, and I'm holding it, and the pastor's still talking. He's yammering about, I don't know, something, hold forever, and I don't know. I don't remember what any of that was. But as he's talking about all of that, I'm kind of fidgeting with the ring, and I'm rubbing that stuff off because I don't know what it is, and I'm getting that, trying to get that, fidgeting with it in my fingers, trying to get that stuff off. And as I get most of the stuff off of the ring, it occurs to me, what if that was like Vaseline or something of that nature to help it slide on her finger, and I've just rubbed it all off. And so now I'm anxious about the fact that I've just rubbed all the stuff off that was supposed to make the ring go on. Now what if the ring doesn't go on? And I'm making myself crazy. Ultimately, the ring goes on just fine, and it was after, the vows and the kiss, and you go out into the lobby and shake everybody's hand, is when I became aware of the smell of peanut butter. So that's all it was. It was peanut butter. The ring was in peanut butter. So it was a great gag.
Luckily.
So, David, do you have any stories for us?
It wasn't April Fool's, but for our wedding, we had served hot wings on purpose.
Rabbit wings?
So no, it wasn't rabbit hole. It was pre-rabbit hole. But we figured that everyone's dressed to the nines in their tuxedos and dresses, and we had hot wings.
Fantastic.
We did it on purpose, and everyone says, "You want to do this with all the nice clothing?" We said, "Absolutely." Watching everybody try to eat that far away from their clothing, it was funny.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
That's great. How about you, Mike? Do you have any stories you'd like to share about pranks that have been pulled on you recently, or in the distant past?
In the somewhat distant past. So I don't work in a mechanic shop, but I worked in an office there for a while, and I would play a prank on my boss. On a computer keyboard.
I love this story.
You know this story. On a computer keyboard, if you just put a knife or a paper clip or anything small underneath the keys, you can pop them off quite easily. And my boss at the time happened to be one that looked at the keyboard every time he pressed a button to find every letter. And so I would occasionally pop the M and the N key off of his keyboard, and if you're looking at a keyboard, those are right next to each other, and I'd flip them around. and multiple times over the course of about 6 months, I started this during the pandemic, and it went for over a year. He would have issue, and he would call the IT department and have them bring him a whole new keyboard because he found it to be defective. And I swear they went through 5, 6, 7 keyboards with him. And so then I would switch to the period and the comma, also right next to each other, also easy to confuse. And that kept the whole thing going. So that was my fun.
Until the cat got let out of the bag.
Yeah, it eventually got found out.
That reminds me of a time that we caught an individual with a drawer full of mouse balls.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah, back in that's a dated element. I mean,
Mouse
because,
balls.
Yeah, mice haven't had testicles for quite a while. All right, Jeff, do you have any stories?
I mean, I did work in an automotive shop, so there's stories almost daily, some of which I can share over the air, some of which you can't. But I think the most common one is walking by your neighbor and switching their impact gun to reverse or forward, depending on if they were taking something apart or putting it back together. And, you know, what they thought they had it all teed up with the nut already in the socket and ready to go to put something back together, and they go to put it back together and it slings the nut across the shop because it's in reverse instead of tighten. And the same holds true for drills also. Somebody's holding something like with a screw gun, piece of sheetrock, and you go to put the screw in, but the screw gun's in reverse. So that's the most common one, but we need to break.
I do that trick to myself all the time.
The other good one in the automotive environment is anti-seize, or some people call it never seize, because a little drop of that on the underslide of somebody's toolbox drawer, and they'll be finding that for weeks. Especially on the main drawer that you open on your toolbox all the time. Mm-hmm. Every time you open the drawer, you get some more on your fingers.
That's brutal. That's brutal.
Awesome.
That's usually for the people that you don't like or made you mad in some way. That's usually a really bad payback prank at that point.
You know you did it then.
Oh yeah.
If you got never sees on your drawer slides, you made somebody really mad.
Well, good stuff. Well, let's go to the top and see what our audience has for us. Looks like Chattanooga 84 was our first check-in this morning. It's been a long day. This evening, Jim, do you have any April Fool's Day or other periods of practical jokes or pranks that you'd like to share?
WRKK 629, Chattanooga 84. Well, if I was many years ago that I could remember, that'd be great. But the most recent one I remember is a ad for a new Kenwood radio last year, I think it was, or the year before, which had an unbelievable specs. It was just like the dream radio, and it was for a low price of $5,000. And it got me for a little while until I figured out it was an April Fool's joke, but it was spread all over the internet and different ham sites. So that's the latest one that got me, and I haven't pulled any because, everybody's too sensitive to stuff anymore, so you can't do anything. All right, WRKK 629, clear.
Yes, it is a different world these days, and we do have to be careful as to who we might play a joke on or a prank to. So different folks can be a little more sensitive to that. It's hard to read sometimes too as to what you can get away with and what you can't. So I guess it's one of those things, because if you're going to spend any time around me, there's probably going to be a prank or a joke of some kind, and it might not even be intentional. Just funny stuff happens, and we capitalize on the humor whenever it does. So good stuff, Jim.
What's your rule? As long as it makes you laugh, that's all that matters?
My humor is for my amusement. Yeah, the fact that you think it's funny or not is not really all that important to me. As long as it makes me laugh, that's enough. So, all right, well, good stuff. Let's keep moving here. We've got CW43 Chad in Bowersville is next. He's in and out. And that'll bring us to Chattanooga 3-0, Jonathan in Hickson. Jonathan, do you have any pranks or practical jokes you'd like to share?
Well, when the Judgment Day comes, there are some things I'm going to have to answer for. And one of them was 15, 18 years ago when I had a mechanic shop. So I totally understand what Jeff is saying about mechanic shop because I can plead guilty as a former mechanic shop owner. Had a young guy working for us. He was still an automotive tech student. And he'd blown the head gasket, some other stuff in his pickup truck. He used it for going truck pulls. He'd blown the head gasket. So we helped him do a complete engine rebuild. He'd done most of the work on it. We helped him with parts. His being a college student, he really couldn't afford those kinds of parts. And he was a very confident, calm, pretty sure of everything he did, except for building his engine. At every step of the way, he was terrified he was going to mess something up. And put this in perspective, the stock engine.
Timer.
Right at a minute.
His
Yes.
timeout timer, yeah.
Uh-oh. Let's see if he comes back.
Jonathan, I think your timeout timer got you.
He just came back. You stepped on him.
Lines, all that stuff. And it's the moment of truth. And he gets in the cab, turned the key, and took a little bit of cranking, get the air purged out of the injection system. And while he's there, in the cab, focusing on the cranking, I dumped about half a quart of fresh antifreeze on the floor right under his truck.
No.
And the engine fired up. And then my business partner starts waving at him, going, stop, shut it off. So Sean, the guy whose engine it was, he shuts off and jumps out of the cab and comes running up. What's going on? And my partner reaches under the truck and puts...
Oh, no. We're going to miss the punchline.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
You can't leave us hanging like that.
Listen for the beep.
He's going to bump up his timeout timer. He's got it set right at 60.
Yeah.
Oh.
He probably thinks we heard it all, too.
Yeah.
Now he's done. To call out to him. And
Everybody on the live stream's cliffhangering right now. Like, what's the punchline?
Well, I don't want to step on him again.
womp womp, they say.
Jonathan, your timeout timer got you again. And so we're waiting for the punchline here. We heard about the stop, and he jumped out of the truck real quick to see what was going on. Can you pick it up from right there and finish it out for us? Watch out for your timeout timer.
Sorry about the timeout. I'm trying out my little handheld today. I'm not on my 40-watt Motorola this time. Yeah, so as he gets out of the cab, my partner, who is my partner in crime in this case, reaches under the truck to where the puddle of antifreeze was and dips his finger in it and looks at Sean, the kid who owns the truck, with a really grave look as he licks his finger and tastes it and says, "That's antifreeze." And that poor kid just about died, thinking that this pride and joy that he'd been working on for a better part of 3 or 4 months had a cracked block or a blown head gasket or something like that. He just about died. All the things I've done, that's one I'm going to have to answer for that one in the Judgment Day.
Oh. Brutal.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I could just imagine the anguish of realizing that all that work and all those hours of rebuilding that engine, and you might have to take it all apart again.
I did a similar prank to that with a smoke bomb. As the guy was cranking on it, trying to get it to run again, I threw a smoke bomb in the tailpipe. So when it fired up, that thing smoked like a freight train, and he thought it was burning oil right out of the gate.
Oh boy. And you see all the video clips of the guy standing, just a few feet away, tapping the wrenches. And as the motor revs, you speed up the tap, and as it slows down, you slow down the tap. And I've never experienced that in a shop environment, but I could just imagine.
Every day is April Fool's. Every day.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Putting rocks in hubcaps and things like that. Oh yeah.
So there you go. Well, good stuff, Jonathan. Thank you for that. And yeah, the timeout timer got you. It's a nice change of pace because usually it's the timeout timer getting me. So I'm very pleased that it wasn't me this time. Well, thank you for that. With that, we're going to move on with next we have Atlanta 256 Chuck in Dawsonville. Chuck probably doesn't have any stories to tell. I don't imagine he's ever been engaged in a practical joke or a prank of any nature.
Any tomfoolery.
No.
Yeah, he's much too
straight shooter.
Yeah, yeah. Chuck, what have you got?
Sometimes walking the dog, so I figured I'd use my Zello radio. Most of the stuff, we really can't talk about due to the statute of limitations in Florida being 50 years after retirement, but some of the good ones, one of them, like David said, the rocks and the hubcaps, and wow, we'd get those big, long flex cups fall under his car and put them on his drive shaft. And he'd drive that thing, and it would go clicking on down the road. When he in the car at the shop, we'd fall back underneath and cut them off. And the next night, we'd put them back on, and the shop mechanic said, "No, your car's fine." And he'd deadline it again. We'd put them back on. And really caught up to us one day when he did his own surveillance and saw us crawling under his car. But some good stuff like that. Yeah, everybody's job has their unique fool pranks. We actually had a wrecker pull one of our wrecked police cars out. We set it up at an intersection and then called one of the sergeants and said, "Hey, we got in a wreck." And we had him going for an hour or two. But stuff like that. But other than that, yeah. No, and I like the format on YouTube. It looks good. David, you look good sitting there. Kind of missed Jeff's face in there, but I guess you only got room for 3. But other than that, no. A lot of the stuff I can tell you in person, though. But that's all for tonight. Great job, guys.
I didn't follow enough of what he said. The crunch was killing me.
He was putting the zip ties on drive shafts,
Yeah,
flex cuffs on drive shafts, and
All right.
Rocks in the hubcaps.
Yeah.
Rocks in the hubcaps.
Zip ties on drive shafts is a good one, too.
That is.
Because it goes faster and faster and whips against the floorboard the faster you go.
You know, I don't know how well it would work, but the harmonica zip tied to the cross member, I would think that would be a good one as well. Or maybe even if you affixed a harmonica in such a way to part of the exhaust system, that could very well be. I don't know. Jeff?
Let's have him, we'll go back to him and see if he can try it again, see if we can hear him a little better now.
Chuck, can you come back and tell that story again? We had some audio issues while you were on the air, and it was really difficult for me to pick out what you were saying, and it may very well have been difficult for other audience members as well. But we think we have the audio issue resolved, perhaps?
And he's on the switch if it needs to go more, so.
Okay, so yeah, if you can come back, that'll help us to evaluate where we're at. Just tell that story all over again, please.
Okay, all over again. I'll make it one shorter. The tie wraps on the drive shaft. We used to get the flex cup and put them on the sergeant's car back in my younger days in the 80s, and make all kinds of racket. He'd deadline the car, we'd cut them off, have the mechanic look at it, and he said, "No, it's fine." Next day, we'd put him back on his car. We drove nuts for several days before he finally figured it out.
Ah, very good. Yes, that's much better copy on you. There's still some issue there, but we'll delve into that perhaps after the net. But yeah, I could imagine taking the car in because you hear some noise, and then before the mechanic has a chance to troubleshoot it, you undo that and then do it again after. It'll just drive somebody nuts.
And the mechanic nuts without even knowing that you're driving him nuts.
Yeah, he's probably just aggravated about some idiot that keeps bringing a car in for problems that don't exist.
A noise that's not there.
Yeah.
Walks out and hand him the zip cuff. Here you go.
Well, that's the term that they used very often from the diesel shop where I drove my truck out of was the problem was the loose nut behind the wheel.
I usually go with loose connection between the wheel and the seat.
Yeah. Yeah, that connection might be very loose. So, I could imagine some of the comments the mechanics would have had in that scenario. Good stuff, Chuck. Thanks for that story. With that, let's keep on trucking here. We have Gainesville 58. Jonathan in Oakwood is in and out. We have CW33. Tom in Bogart is in and out. We have Atlanta 403. Bobby at the Vortex is in and out. That'll bring us to Atlanta 250. Dana in Dahlonega. Dana, do you have any practical jokes or holiday pranks you'd like to share?
I think we're giving people.
Well, good evening, guys. The only one I can think of right offhand is happened to a friend of mine. Was told that if a certain test was passed, that there would be a free salad that he got at the store. Mike, do you want to elaborate on that?
He can't even tell the story without laughing. He's going to turn it over.
No, that is a great story. And I recall the deal was because the test was being held at a restaurant that served a buffet. And the deal was that if you passed the test, you could get a free salad with the purchase of a buffet.
I did get my free salad.
With your buffet?
With the buffet.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with passing the test.
So I've told this story a couple times, but at the Dalton Ham Fest, I passed my my test for the general license on the amateur side and went into the restaurant after the test with my certificate in hand. And Justin had been talking about this free salad for, I don't know, a couple, 3 weeks. That if you pass the test at the Ham Fest, you get the free salad. So I walked in and got the buffet and showed the lady my general certification and said I wanted my free salad. And she looked at me like I had two heads.
And she's trying to read the paper as you're waving it around because you were all excited.
Yeah.
That paper, she had no idea what it was. Had never
Exactly.
seen
No,
before in
she
her
had
life.
no idea.
Yeah.
And Jeff's next to me, and he's like, "You get the free salad. Come on, move
Come
out of
on,
the
let's
way."
go.
30 people behind.
But so it was literally at the register that I realized
You'd been had.
I had been had.
Yeah, well, it happens.
But you got your salad.
I did get the salad.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the salad. So Dana, there's your story.
So as a result of that story, many things related to Mike have been nicknamed Free Salad. And we're in the process of setting up equipment so that Mike can operate in the same capacity as he is right here with us, but do it remotely. So that will involve building a studio environment up in Blue Ridge, because you have, what, an hour and 20 minutes, hour
Give or
and a half?
take. Depends on traffic, but yeah.
Of travel to get here in the afternoon. And then when we're done with the net, he's got that drive to make home. So we want to try to make things a little bit easier and still utilize Mike in the logging functions and stuff that he does, but be able to transport him electronically here from there. So in the process, we're building a studio environment at Mike's house to facilitate that, and it's become known as the Free Salad Studio.
Yeah. I thought it would be Studio Blue Ridge or something obvious like that, but it's taken on a life of its own.
So
Well, to the network, Studio Free Salad is now obvious.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
True.
yeah. So studio free, is
salad bar.
is going to be the salad bar. Yes, it's going to be
The salad bar.
It's going to be, yeah, where Mike operates out of when we get all the technical issues resolved. We still have a little ways to go.
We're getting close.
But there's some hardware, there's some software, there's connectivity, and we want to get it all right before we pull the plug on that. You all right over there, Jeff?
You need a break or you're going to hit the timeout timer.
I'm looking for it.
Gary says studio blue cheese.
Very good. Very good. All right, where are we at? I'm lost.
We left off with Atlanta 250.
Let's go back to Dana and see if he has anything else he wants to talk about tonight.
He's probably laughing.
He is.
Well, I can't really think of any. I mean, there are practical jokes that I've been involved in, but like many have said before me, you cannot say them on air, so or discuss them on air. But hey, I'll take a few minutes real quick to remind everybody tomorrow night, on the Friday night at 9, the Simplex Challenge, we're going to have a round table. And the discussion on that roundtable will be the nationally recognized 333 plan when emergencies occur. We're going to have two very special guest hosts, David and Lisa Lummis from the Rabbit Hole. And I am sure it's going to go flawlessly and smoothly, and everybody will have a little bit of fun at the same time.
That's high expectations.
That's it, really.
Very good. Well, I think that'll be cool having the hosts from the Rabbit Hole on your net. We were just discussing that earlier tonight about David making an appearance here tonight and on your show tomorrow night, and then on Monday on what is the show that happens on Monday?
I can't remember. The Rabbit Hole Net.
Oh yeah, the Rabbit Hole Net. So he's doing multiple consecutive guest appearances, and so he's going to be on 3 nets in a row in less than a week, and I think he's trying to set the bar.
Well, technically Monday's the next week.
Well, okay, that's still going to be a tough one to. You're setting the bar where I typically sit at the bar.
Absolutely.
Well, the Tiki Bar is, that's one of my favorite places in the entire world. So, but we've only had a few nets there, and never have we done 3 nets within 5 days. So,
fair point.
Yeah, seems like it at times. Plenty of opportunities with Studio G out there at the Tiki Bar, but kind of glad that we're not having to drag that stuff out and set it up prior to and after the net each week. It's nice to have Vanguard ready to go on a weekly basis, so really appreciate having the facility here. Where are we at? I've lost my place. Again.
Rome 313.
Yep.
He may have been in and out, but check with him.
Go ahead.
Rome 313. Jay, you got any April Fool jokes you'd like to talk about?
Yes, sir. This is Rome 313. I can't think of one that I couldn't pull off right now because I just can't figure them things out, my friend.
There we are.
It's coming back. All right, here we go. I got you. Well, like we said before, some of the jokes that we have done in the past wouldn't fly nowadays. So,
and some things we can't talk about on the radio.
Well, yes.
And there's plenty of that.
Lots
of those topics we just have to kind of set aside and move past. But there's plenty of humor and opportunities to share stories, like the free salad story. That was a good one, and there's many like that. So that's the kind of story we're looking for.
Right.
But with that, let's go ahead and move on. Thanks, Jason, for hanging out with us tonight and participating. Your radio sounds fantastic, by the way. And with that, let's move on to Atlanta 528. Ronnie in Lyerly is in and out. And that'll bring us next to Atlanta 255. Jennifer in Dawsonville. Congratulations on the new tech license, Jennifer.
Thank you very much, Net Control, and the call sign is a tongue twister for sure.
It is, but I got it right, didn't I?
Mom had called, and I just caught the tail end of it. I know you got the QJQ right. The very first part of it, I think you got that right, too, because I think that's everybody who's tested this year.
All right, so what is it? Is a Kilo November 4 or
KQ4?
KQ. So let me try this again. It's Kilo Quebec 4, Quebec Juliet Quebec. I think is it. Did I get it?
Spot on. I have it written down on a piece of paper because I'm never going to remember that unless I do it that way. Same thing with my GMRS call sign, too.
Well, you'd be surprised. It doesn't really take that long for that call sign to get ingrained in your mind, and the phonetic pronunciation of it will also be pretty well ingrained in your mind. And it doesn't seem like it will at first, but it will. And what's cool about your call sign is having the same character in 3 different places. So that's kind of unique. In fact, that's very unique. I'm not aware of anybody that has that. Julie and I have consecutive call signs. So I'm KN4HYN and she is KN4HYM. So that's kind of fun to have consecutive call signs like that. So when we're both on the air, contesting or otherwise, it's kind of fun to have those consecutive calls. But very good stuff. Jennifer, did you have any practical jokes or pranks that you'd like to share with the group?
Oh, all of mine are pretty harmless, but if I go to the Wayback Machine, back when I worked fast food, we once had a guy mop the freezer. He protested, you can't mop the freezer, which of course you can't. No, you just use really hot water. So this poor guy was in there trying to mop the freezer, and the mop froze to the floor. Of course it did. And then some other stuff, but that's the Wayback one.
I love that. Mop the freezer.
That's good.
Yeah, the water wasn't hot enough. You got to get hotter water. I love it. That's a great story.
Until you have to chisel the mop off the floor.
Well, explain that one to the boss. Why is there a mop? Oh, never mind. Okay. All right. Well, good stuff. Thank you for that, Jennifer. And once again, congratulations on your tech license. Next, we have Gainesville 100. Randall in Buford is in and out. We have Gainesville 57. Richard in Westminster. Richard, did you have any practical jokes or pranks you'd like to share? USB-C?
Yeah. Power brick.
It's
That's it.
That's all it's going to do?
Yep.
Yeah. I need it to go to the laptop.
We'll have to fish it out from under to
Is
do
it
that.
connected to a decent sized brick?
30 or 40 watts.
Okay, that'll do. Well, I don't know if it'll do.
Yeah,
it'll at least preserve me.
Let's see.
Somebody needs to keep going with the net. David?
Oh, wait a minute.
The camera's on David anyway, so.
I know. I lost a log.
Okay, so
It's
next we have.
Richard. We're going to mark him as in and out. You want me to get it?
All right, we got a little technical
scuffle.
Shuffle thing going on right here, right now. But give us just one moment, and we'll move on with it. Have you figured out where we are? All right, so we are we just called on Gainesville 57, Richard, and no answer. So we're going to move on to Atlanta 454. Stephen in Lilburn was in and out. Next we have Atlanta 453. Janine in Lilburn also in and out. That brings us to Rome 36. Jeff in Silver Creek is in and out. And that'll bring us to Alabama 22. Hal in Cedar Bluff is in with us tonight. Hal, do you have any practical jokes or pranks you'd like to share with the group?
Forgot this thing's a touch screen when I went to go move it.
Yes, I do. Good evening. Now, I got a few years on me, and when I was younger, working on cars, it was always nice to charge up the capacitor that went in the old point-style distributors and say, here, catch. Throw it across the shop and watch somebody, when they caught it, give them a pretty good shot from one of those.
Well, the charged capacitor toss trick.
I'll bet people got a charge out of that for sure. You know, back in high school, we had an electronics lab that was kind of defunct, kind of out of commission. Oh, I gotta move the camera back. So it had been several years of no use. It's still not coming to me.
And everyone was always in the habit of walking by my toolbox and grabbing a piece of candy. And I started putting them in, and I'd love to stand back and watch if somebody walked by my toolbox, pick up a piece of candy out of it, and pop one of those things in their mouth when they weren't expecting it. Watch the expression on them on those really sour candies because they just first come out.
Oh, I thought he was putting the capacitor
That's
in the
what
bag
I
of
was
candy.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah, that would be that would be great. We'd only heard part of that. We were imagining that you were talking about a capacitor charged up in the candy dish and somebody walking by and throwing that in their mouth. But then we picked up on the rest of it. So you typically had candy in your toolbox and folks would help themselves to it. Is that right? Help us to get that story right.
That is correct. I carried a big cantilever toolbox that opened up, always had candy in it, and everybody knew they were free to come by and grab a piece while we were at work. We'd start when buildings were red iron and concrete, do the core work, and then to finish the lease spaces. I always had candy in my toolbox for everybody.
Ah, very good. That's one of the tools that I learned to use on the railroad, trying to negotiate with a dispatcher for track time. It's easier to get track time if you could offer them a little bit of something. M&M's worked great. Hershey's Kisses were good. Then one of our vendors came in for a big cutover, and they came in with big bowls full of candy and set them all over the place, all over.
Uh-oh.
I lost all my leverage.
Yeah.
I couldn't bribe anybody because you got nothing. I can just go out there and get my own. No, thanks. But
you have to bring the full size bars in.
Oh yeah. So anyway, the candy is a great tool. It truly is, at least if it's used properly. So that's a great story. Do you have anything else for us?
Just one last thing.
I had a feeling.
I worked on Volvos at a dealership on the north side of Atlanta in the early 80s, and you were talking about the loose connection between the steering wheel and the seat. You would not believe how many times I'd have a Volvo come in on a hook because it quit going down the road. I'd get in it, put the key in it, turn the ignition switch on, look at the gas gauge, and it would be out of gas.
Ain't got no gas in it.
Ain't got no gas in it.
That is a problem.
That was a similar story to a skid steer, wasn't it? I believe.
Well, that skid steer had a number of problems, if you recall. Being out of gas was just one of them.
That was the biggest problem at that particular moment.
Yeah. Well, what I found remarkable was after we put gas in it and it still wouldn't start, when you took the spark plugs out and had us turn it over and that spray of gasoline, 6-8 feet in the air.
I told you to get out of the way.
You did. I never would have imagined that. That's something I will take with me for a long time. That was a very impressive cloud of explosive vapor.
Too funny.
Yeah. I'm glad there wasn't an ignition source.
The E does not stand for enough.
So out of gas. All right. Well, I can imagine. And I imagine that these days there are equally interesting stories of cars that come in on a hook for problems. I saw one where the throttle pedal was stuck underneath a floor mat, and because of the throttle being fully deployed, I guess maybe even past its limits, the vehicle wouldn't let it start.
Oh, that's called flood clear. If you hold the gas pedal on a modern fuel injection vehicle to the floorboard, it goes into flood clear, so it won't fire the fuel injectors, which means the car won't start.
So, yeah, that's one thing. If the car won't start, check your floor mats.
That's actually really common, that people put aftermarket floor mats in and it holds the gas pedal down and then the car won't start.
So, yeah, I never would have imagined that, but I thought that was very interesting. Well, good stories, Hal. Thank you for all of those, and appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Next on our list, we have Atlanta 138. Robert from Auburn is at band practice. He's in and out tonight. We have McDonough 4-5, Kai, and McDonough is in and out. And Gainesville 417, William in Auburn, in and out. And that'll bring us to Atlanta 710, Scott in Roswell, in tonight. Scott, do you have any practical jokes or pranks you'd like to share?
Well, I'm in and out, actually, but Justin, David, Mike, Jeff, Kate, Julie, appreciate everything you do. Nothing probably like the office candy joke is the old customer donut box with the rubber snake inside. But the rest of my, I think I'll keep the private conversations for anything else. Appreciate the levity tonight, though, guys.
What was the donut box?
I couldn't make it out.
Scott, can you come back one more time with the donut box? Your audio is just low enough we were having a hard time hearing. I'm sure we'd like to hear the story about the donut box. I can just envision so many opportunities for pranks with donuts. But Chuck already told his story, so that opportunity is lost. I'd like to hear yours.
Hey, we'll try that again. Yeah, I was walking by. I actually checked in and out. Donut box. You leave in of course, the office donut box. You leave a little rubber snake inside. People flip that lid, and that little rubber snake pops out.
Snake. Okay.
Other than that, the rest I'll keep the private conversation. But I appreciate the levity from everybody.
That was cruel.
Right?
The rubber snake. That would be a surprise.
Expecting a donut and get a cardiac arrest.
Yeah, yeah, and not from the reason. I mean, the heart attack's not from the candy or from the sugar. It's from a damn surprise. That, holy cow! That wouldn't be expected. That's for sure. Good story. Well, I appreciate that. We must have missed your in and out, but thanks for jumping in here anyway. And that second time around, your audio was much better, so appreciate that. All right, next on our list is Atlanta 933. Dwayne and Kenton is in and out. Atlanta 532. Tom and Flowery Branch in and out. Atlanta 780. Houston in Austell is in and out. Dallas 16. Michael was a YouTube check-in and out.
This is our new member.
We have Terry. We have WSBC 635. Terry, brand new member.
He's joining us on Zillow.
Okay. All right. Terry, do you have any practical jokes or pranks you'd like to share?
He's joining us.
So Dave, this was years ago. Me and my mom, we were at a gas station,
and we realized that that following day was April Fool's. And so we decided that we were going to thank my stepdad by calling him the keys in the truck. Well, he comes down there with a wire coat hanger and gets the truck unlocked. And the whole time we were standing there with the keys to the truck, he turned and looked at us and said, he said, "You tell me the whole time y'all had the keys in your hand, and we got an April Fool." He got mad and he drove away.
Oh my golly! You know what? I lose my keys often enough that would be that'd be a tough one for me as well. Between my keys and my glasses. What are you laughing at?
Scattered everywhere. You've got spares.
Yeah, where's your glasses?
Yeah, I don't have spare keys though.
Not spare keys.
Yeah, keys are you know, back in the day, there was this occasion where, because keys were so cheap, that I would make 2 or 3 sets of spare keys and usually have them stashed in various places because I've always been notorious for misplacing my keys. And it's always been convenient to just have 2 or 3 sets of keys because it was cheap. It was just a few bucks to make a whole set of keys.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this time that we had, well, this is a complicated story. I don't know how I can convey this. Anyway, a kid was promised the use of my car at the conclusion of a gig in a town hours away. And he thought that he was going to be able to drive the car to go visit his girlfriend once we finished this gig. And then we told him, no, you can't. But he's got the keys to the car. It's my car, and he's got the keys. And we told him that the car had been sold and that he wasn't going to be able to use it. And so he's really broken up about this because he was a teenager and he had a girlfriend he wanted to go see. And so you could just imagine the angst he was going through, thinking that he was going to be able to use the car, and now we've told him the car was sold, and he can't use it. So, well, if you sold the car, then you don't need a set of keys, do you? And he tossed the keys out the window.
Oh.
And so the buddy that was with me on this gag with this kid didn't realize that I had multiple spare sets of keys, and he was in a bit of a panic. But we just kept right on playing until we finally got where we were going and handed the kid another set of keys and told him we were just playing with you.
Oh.
So yeah, that spare key thing. I wish that you could just for a couple of bucks have a spare key to a vehicle these days. But
yeah, I just got one for my Tacoma, $300.
Oh my golly.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine someone throwing that out the window.
Oh no, that was an interesting story. But anyway, let's break and continue on. Where are we at? You want to pick it up?
You might as well tell him his TAC number while you got him.
Oh, what is it?
Rome 27.
Yeah, all right. Well, we've got a little bit of news for you, Terry. It appears that your TAC number is
Rome 27.
Rome 27. So congratulations, and thanks for supporting the network with your membership. I'm glad to have you along. Terry, did you have anything else for us before we move on?
CBN was.
I'm going to skip him. We'll call him, but I'm not going to. Probably fighting with Zello.
CW8 is where I have us.
Okay.
Second.
CW8 will be your...
All right. Well, thanks again, Terry. Appreciate all of that. We're going to continue on with the roster here and just call out one more time to Gainesville 285 CV in Murrayville in and out, as well as Gainesville 286 Lynn in Murrayville in and out. Next on the list is CW8 Robert in Colbert, YouTube check-in. And Atlanta 263 Roger Dunwoody is also a YouTube check-in. And that'll bring us to Atlanta 31 Ron in Ackworth. Was one of our Zello check-ins. We've got you in and out, Ron. And Chattanooga 110, James and Ringgold, you're in tonight. Do you have any practical jokes or pranks you'd like to share? Is it me or is...
This is Kilo Quebec 4, Oscar Quebec.
I don't think so.
At times, but not overall for the majority of
I'm sorry, I picked up the wrong microphone.
He's calling out amateur call sign.
Uh-huh.
That was my practical joke for this evening.
Got all of us.
Right.
That's fantastic.
That was good, James.
Oh, very good. I don't know how many times I have grabbed the wrong microphone and thrown my GMRS call out on 2 meter or vice versa. I've done it hundreds of times, and I don't think any one of us are immune to it. When you've got 2 call signs, it's particularly challenging to get the right one in the right place.
Yep.
And when you hear it, you just go, hey, wrong one.
Right.
Roll again.
Or just give out both. Either way.
I think that's the right answer. Just get in a habit of giving out both call signs all the time. But that was a good one. Appreciate
Too
that.
funny.
Did you have anything else you wanted to share?
Yes, when I was in the Navy, I was a photographer, and I had a group of guys, average between 12 and 15 guys that worked under me. One day we got a new piece of equipment. It was a brand new Nikon camera with like a 600 millimeter lens. Everybody wanted to try this out. So I took the opportunity to put some black grease on the viewfinder.
Oh, no.
And nobody ever realized it was me because I was above such practical jokes.
Oh.
So you would be the phantom greaser?
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's excellent.
That would be appropriate?
Yeah, yeah.
Once upon a time, I had this old junk rifle scope, and it was on a table near my desk at the office, and we would use that periodically to look at, things down on the street. Birds.
Yeah, birds.
It was for looking at birds.
Yep.
And so it was a lot of fun because that rifle scope would be sitting there on the table, and people would pick that up and and they would hold it right up to their eye. It's a rifle scope.
Yep.
And it's kind of obvious that that's what it is, but it's not on a rifle. It's just there by itself. But people would hold it right up to their eye, and I would suggest that. There's another one that got shoe polish on his eye. and then we would have to school them on, it's a rifle scope. You have to hold it, 4 inches away.
3-4 inches back, yeah.
And then you can see in tremendous detail, but yeah, not binoculars, not a spotting scope. So
although that would be good for the shoe polish grease trick as well.
Yeah, we never did shoe polish it, but we would suggest that it had been, and people would
go check.
Become very because it's me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're not for a moment going to believe that it wasn't shoe polish until there's evidence to prove that fact.
All right.
So thank you for that, James, and that's also another great story. Next, we have Chattanooga 118, Stuart in Eastridge. Stuart, did you have any pranks or practical jokes you'd like to share?
Well, we just heard from a fellow sailor, so I'll keep in the same context here of the Navy. So I was in boot camp. It was June to September of '83, somewhere in there. And there was a broadcast that was made over the radio, a show that was coming on, and it was talked about beforehand. But we're in boot camp, so very few people had access to a radio, but I did, and because I was the postal clerk, so I had that kind of thing. Well, the broadcast, I don't remember if it was War of the Worlds, or if it was along the same lines, but, Cold War, Russia is doing some kind of thing, and it was probably that, but I don't remember, but it was along the very same lines. But me knowing about it, and me recruiting some of my friends, we got the radio from my little post office and set it in our compartment, and we're playing it for people, and they were hearing this, and they were freaking out because they thought it was really happening. So that's my best one I've got.
Probably War of
Davy
the Worlds.
Fun. Back to you, Ned.
Well, that was a cutting-edge broadcast. First of its kind. Dramatization of a lifelike event and conducted in such a way that a lot of people thought it was real. And I think the story of War of the Worlds is more fantastic than the movie or the story itself. So the fact that it was presented in such a way, a pretty phenomenal story. And it's pretty cool that they were able to pull that off. I don't know that they realized how many people would believe it.
Well, they were just going through their skit.
Yeah, right.
And they had no idea that people were taking it as an actual broadcast.
Well, yeah, I'd never expected anybody to believe the spider story.
That's funny.
We almost caught the one earlier.
Oh, we almost had a spider tonight. Yeah. He's still here, so, I mean, he's not gone.
I know.
Yeah. He could be under your hat by now.
That's all right.
Yeah.
They don't need much.
Nah.
All right. Well, yeah, good stuff. And War of the Worlds was that was absolutely a fantastic story, and the story around that I think is even more fascinating. But good stuff. Well, thank you, Stuart. And with that, we're going to keep right on moving here. We have Atlanta 848 Ernest in Duluth is in and out, as well as Atlanta 849 Pamela, also in Duluth, in and out. We have Atlanta 1140 Troy in Covington, in and out. Gainesville 44 Joe in Cleveland, in and out. Let me break. All right, I look away and I lose my place. That's why. There we go. I'm still lost. There it is. Joe in Cleveland. So Atlanta 589 Don in Kennesaw is in and out. Sorry about all that. Chattanooga 69 Ronnie in Rossville is in and out. Gainesville 76 John in Gainesville, in and out. And that'll bring us to CW5 Cynthia in Comer. Cynthia, did you have any practical jokes or pranks you'd like to share?
I was sitting here looking for the cue on this side.
CW5. I would like to give a shout out to all of the sisters out there with older brothers because I have an older brother who teased me with stories that were so fantastical when I was a kid, and I bought them hook, line, and sinker every time. So y'all remind me of my older brother, and I love him, and I love his tales, so I love hearing all this. And so anyway, shout out to the sisters and brothers. Be nice to your little sisters. So CW5, clear.
Well, I'll tell you, Julie would be right there with you because her older brother tormented her to no end as kids, and they both have some pretty great stories of some of the antics that they played on one another, and particularly Drew in his torment of Julie. So Drew tormented pretty much everybody. He didn't single anyone out. He was an equal opportunity tormentor.
I won't take credit for the story because it's way before I even existed. But my dad and my older uncle used to tie their younger brother to the backside of the tree when they were in school. So when Grandma would call them to come in from playing outside for their snack after school, my youngest uncle was tied to the backside of the tree, so my dad and my older uncle would go running in the house so they'd get first dib at the snacks. And Grandma couldn't understand where the youngest one was, which would be my Uncle Al at this point, but Al was always late for snack time after school because they would tie him to the tree.
Tied to a tree.
On the backside.
On the backside,
no
so
one could see.
Granny couldn't see him.
Oh, my. I love that story. Yeah. Well, good stuff, Cynthia. Thank you for that. Did you have anything else?
Topic tonight. We're enjoying listening.
Yeah, all right. Well, it's great having you along, and appreciate you hanging out with us. Next, we have Uncle Mike from up around Cherry Log is in and out tonight. And that brings us to Chattanooga 97. Is that Anthony or Tony?
I think he checked in as Anthony.
Do we know? All right. Anthony is in and out. He's a YouTube check-in. And we have Atlanta 145. Stephen from Marble Hill is also a YouTube check-in. That'll bring us to Chattanooga 49. Robert in Dalton. Robert, do you have any practical jokes or pranks you'd like to share?
Could be wrong, but I think he was a YouTube check-in also.
Oh, was he?
I think so. Yes, he is.
Okay, I probably goofed that one then.
Yeah.
That mattered.
All right, so we've got a correction here. Robert was a YouTube check-in, so he's in and out by default. That'll bring us next to Cades Cove 80, Eric in Rockwood, also a YouTube check-in. Dallas 49, Doug in Hiram is he's just in and out. CW40, Robert in Nicholson, in and out. Atlanta 11, John in Canton, Woodstock, Holly Springs, somewhere around these parts. John is in and out. We've got a couple of YouTube check-ins here. We've got Dallas 21, Lisa in southwest Paulding County is a YouTube check-in. Dallas 22, Seth, also in southwest Paulding County, a YouTube check-in. And Dallas 23, Belinda, conveniently located in southwest Paulding County, is also a YouTube check-in. That'll bring us to the famous Atlanta 60. Gary in Noonan is a YouTube check-in. Rome 12, Mark in Rome is a YouTube check-in. Atlanta 519, Gary in Marietta, a YouTube check-in. Chattanooga 49, Robert in Dalton, a YouTube check-in. Toccoa 45, Timothy in Canton.
Oh, no, it is Cannon.
It looks like Cannon to me. Timothy is a YouTube check-in. And Atlanta 810, What a Dad, is a YouTube check-in. So because he's YouTube, he's by default in and out.
He works wonders in magic. He might actually be there, so maybe call on him anyways.
Oh,
yeah, I had him checked out, but he checked back in. So.
Oh, he did that himself?
He did.
Yeah.
Oh.
What a nerd.
Okay. So, yeah, he does possess some interesting power. So let's call on Atlanta 810 and see if he has any practical jokes that we're aware of. I think probably the problem with John is many of the jokes that he pulls are so far beyond me. Well, just now I saw him in and out and then in and then out.
Mm-hmm.
And
moving himself into different positions in the log. He moves himself higher up in the food chain.
He's done that before.
Yeah. So I didn't notice that happened, and now that I see it, it makes me think that he probably did. It went right over my head. So, John, did you have any practical jokes or pranks that we're aware of or that we're not aware of? I mean, probably some of the best jokes are the ones we've never figured out.
Are we in it?
Are we part of them?
Well, good evening, guys. This is Atlanta 810, WRN Q863. Since I checked in from YouTube, I guess I should go ahead and identify who I am. You guys hear me okay? I'm on a HT.
Yeah.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah, the radio sounds good, but it still sounds like you.
Well, perfect. I don't know that I can sound any other way. So, yeah, I do have several pranks that
that I have pulled before, but like a few have said, many of them I won't go into on the air, but one of them I will, and I'm really shocked and surprised that the recipient of said April Fool's joke later turned out to be my wife. So when my wife, then girlfriend, was in college, I went on a road trip with my uncle, and he was an over-the-road trucker, and we went for about a week and a half out to deliver something. I don't remember what it was. It does not really matter. And April Fool's Day came around, and my wife, bless her heart, does not remember that it's April Fool's Day until it's too late. Let me break it. So I call her at probably 6 o'clock in the morning, and she answers her phone. She's obviously not awake quite yet, and she answers her phone and says hello, and I said, thank goodness you answered the phone. I have tried calling lots of people, and nobody's answering. My Uncle David I was riding with, I fell asleep back in the sleeper and woke up, and he had stopped here at this truck stop. I guess he went inside to sign the receipt and pay, and I had to use the restroom. So I got out of the truck and went to go to the restroom. I come back out, and the truck is gone. I don't know where he's at. Let me break.
I can see where this is going.
And I said, I don't have my wallet. I don't have anything except for this phone, and he's not answering his phone. Otherwise, that would be convenient. But anyway, I have no idea where I'm at, and I'm stuck here, and I need you to come get me. And she said, well, where are you? And I said, I've already told you I have no idea where I'm at. Why did you ask me that? And she said, well, can you go inside and find out where you're at? I said, yeah, I guess I can walk in there and find out, and I'll call you back. So I hang up with her. Meanwhile, I'm riding down the road, and I'm surprised she didn't hear the road noise, but we crack up laughing, right? So I call her back a few minutes later, and I said, okay, I found out where I am. I'm in between North Carolina and Georgia, at this truck stop, and, I just need you to come get me. I'd like a ride home, and I don't know any other option here. This was before Uber and other options got big. Well, what I didn't realize is that she had a test that morning in one of her college classes. And so she had already emailed her professor to let him know that she would not be in class. It was pouring down rain, and so rather than making her go to her car, I said, well, I tell you what, why don't you go to your computer and let me give you an address where you can, print out the directions, and that way you'll have them. And she said, okay, let me break. So she gets to her computer, and it boots up, and, this is the days before solid-state drive, so it takes it a minute to boot up. And meanwhile, I'm continuing to express to her how irritated I am that I'm stuck here, and, I can't believe he would leave me, and this and this and that. So she gets her computer up, and she pulls up MapQuest. You guys remember MapQuest? That was a while ago. She pulls up MapQuest, and I said, okay, here's the address. It's 1, 2, through 3, and I can hear her typing in the background, and I said, April, and she types in it, and I said, fool. And about that time, she hung up on me, and she didn't talk to me the rest of the day. I don't know if she ever took the test or not, but anyway, many, many years later, we got engaged and got married, so I guess it wasn't horrendous.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm just imagining you've got some kind of a URL program that would forward to that would pop up on her screen, April Fools or something to that effect. But I guess just typing in the address. and then coming to the conclusion that, yeah, this isn't real. Hung up on you. That's
It makes perfect sense why she has iPhone or tracking on his phone now.
Yeah, it really does.
She ain't falling for that again.
No, that one's not going to happen. That's fantastic. Good
Too
stuff.
funny.
And
a couple of hidden air tags.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Well, David has a task. He would like for the rabbit hole log to include some of the features on our latest log. So at some point, a conversation, I guess, will need to happen so that you can coordinate what David's looking for with what he has.
Well, it's there. It's just broken.
Oh,
I broke it.
He tried to make it like this, and he broke it in the process. So
that's what happens when you let a carpenter touch a computer.
Yeah. So
I
that's
can't
what
fix
happens
this with a hammer.
That's what happens when I touch the log. So I mean, that's why there's a whole thing here that says do not. So I'm, Mike does logging for us now, and it breaks a lot less often.
Now Dana wants it too. So John needs to get a hold of Dana as well.
So there you go. We've got more work for you. Glad you checked in.
Well, I'll take care of all of that work on Monday, and we'll go from there. Good to be participating this evening. Glad I was able to check in, even though
None of you
some people
fools
tried to
caught
check
what
me
day
out a couple
Monday
of times.
is.
Glad I was able to
April
intercept
Fools.
that. We'll talk to everybody later. Atlanta 810 be clear. WRN QA63.
That sounds like a setup.
Yeah.
You do realize he didn't say this Monday. He just said Monday.
Right.
Yeah. So who knows? But he will take care of all that work on
a Monday.
On a Monday.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. And that was a great story. That is the end of the roster. So we're at that time now where we'll take our final round of check-ins. So anybody that's been listening in wants to get their story in, there's an opportunity to comment your way back in, or make a new check-in, or make your first check-in. So if you've been waiting for your opportunity, this is it. We're going to take one round of late check-ins, or anybody with questions or comments. This is your opportunity. The floor is open. Net control standing by.
This is WSAR 344 Atlanta 170, checking in and out.
This is WRXB 696 Dallas 64. Josh in Dallas. Check me in tonight.
70 was in and out, right?
This is Atlanta.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I thought.
That sounded like Pamela.
It was.
Yeah, it did.
She'll have a comment.
This is Atlanta 8469, checking.
Give 4, Derek and Comer. Check me in.
Did you catch that?
I didn't
No,
catch
I
his
didn't.
region. Something 4.
There's a quick key, but
22 on Zello, WRCR 952. Tell me the stop bridge. Check me in.
Derek and Comer, but I didn't catch the region even on the playback.
Where's Comer at?
So it's
This is
either-
Atlanta 293, Whiskey Sierra Bravo Mike 809. Check me in, please.
I did miss that one.
Atlanta 293.
293, yeah. Saw 3 of them were in, and we got a comment from Atlanta 849.
And you got Derek and Comer, but we missed his TAC numbers.
Let me just make an entry for him.
Not in.
CW4, Derek and Comer.
Oh,
Check
there
me
it
in.
is.
Oh.
He must have
hear
heard
us.
us struggling on YouTube.
Yeah.
Came back to help us out. Appreciate that, Derek.
Thank you, Derek. CW4. There we go.
Perfect.
I was checking Toccoa. I was
Right.
checking Gainesville. I was checking all the different regions. I didn't get to CW yet.
Cut out.
WRWT 244.
It was a Cades Cove station.
WRWT 244 is what you think?
That's what I think.
Okay. I don't want to put Cades Cove.
Our last station, I heard a WRWT 244. I don't know if that's right or not. But if you could come back, we've got a rough copy on you. But if you can come back nice and loud into your radio with your call sign first, then your TAC number, name, and general location, please. That was even worse.
WRWT 214.
214. Located in South what?
South Knoxville.
I think that's going to be Cades Cove 41. I think that's going to be Tim. WRWP.
214?
Yeah, Peter.
Well, let me delete this.
All right, let me go ahead and acknowledge what we have. We have Atlanta 170 Dalton in Cartersville, in and out. We have Dallas 64 Josh in Dallas is in tonight. McDonough 22 Tim in Stockbridge also in tonight. Atlanta 293 Jackson in Calhoun in tonight. CW4 Derek in Comer is in tonight. And I believe that was Cades Cove 41, WRWP 214, Tim in Knoxville, is what we have in our log at this point. Is that correct? Yep.
We have Tim, rather staticky, but we do have him.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
All right, Tim, thank you for that. Also, there's a comment from Atlanta 849, Pamela in Duluth. So we'll come to you here in a moment, Pamela, but let's go next to Atlanta 170 Dalton in Cartersville was in and out, and that'll bring us to Dallas 64 Josh in Dallas. Josh, did you have any comments for the net, any practical jokes or pranks that you'd like to share?
Oh, yeah, so two things. The first thing is John's comment about getting to that on Monday. I hope y'all realize Monday is April Fool's. And then for me, one of the places I used to work, I used to get stink bombs that you could buy from the gas station or convenience store in glass, and I would put them in latex gloves, and I would break them, and I would throw them in coworkers' vehicles underneath their seat. So when they get in their vehicle, it was the most god-awful putrid smell they could smell.
Brutal.
Oh. That's mean. That's...
Yeah, when I was a kid in school, we had a guy that loved to bring that stuff in and break those little vials underneath it. He would rock his chair back and stick that vial on the floor and then rock forward. And sometimes he'd hit it, and sometimes he'd miss it, and sometimes he'd get all the way to the end of the class. But a lot of times he'd end up hitting it before the class was over. And he just thought that was the funniest thing. And I don't think he had very many friends.
Well, I can't imagine why.
Right?
Oh yeah, but I could just imagine coming out to the car and not good.
Especially on a summer day.
My dad tells me a story.
Yeah.
My dad tells a story about a ready mix driver that he worked with that had no sense of smell.
Oh.
And some of the things that they would put, under the seat in his truck. And it was so bad that other people would refuse to go up to the truck. Mechanics didn't want to work on the truck, It was really, really bad. And he had no idea. He couldn't smell it.
That's almost a superpower.
Right?
Like, there's a lot of things I wouldn't want to
Unless
smell.
you're going through your fridge trying to find what's good and bad.
Well, yeah, maybe.
And
yeah.
so that was one of the more common things was leftovers from lunch.
Yeah.
Would go into the Ziploc, but not close it and just stuff that under the seat.
Oh, wow.
And so that would fester it would just be awful. And you could just imagine what that would smell like after a few days in a truck that does not have air conditioning. But I didn't work in that shop, so I don't have any firsthand. But that's
you were
a story
never subjected.
that has ridden with me for all these years. So good stuff, Josh. Did you have anything else for us?
No, that was it. That was all I had. Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good Easter weekend.
Very good. Well, thank you for that story. Next, we have McDonough 22 Tim in Stockbridge. He's probably got a pretty good story for us. Go ahead with that, Tim.
Good evening, gentlemen. First of all, let me say the reason that I was late checking in tonight instead of my usual time, which is usually an early check-in. I was in McDonough taking my technician's test for a helm license, and I passed. So before let me break it, and I'll say my practical joke.
Nice.
Okay, so once upon a time back in the golden age of talk radio in Atlanta, there was a gentleman on the radio out of Atlanta, syndicated all across the nation, who was, his name was Neil Bortz. I'm sure a lot of people will remember Neil. And he did a couple of things. He was always doing practical joke stuff, and the biggest one I can remember is the Great American Cat Chase. He pretended to be in a helicopter, and they had just cages full of cats, and they carried these cats up in the helicopter, and they would throw in the cats out one or two at a time, and then people would jump out of the helicopter and try to catch the cats before they hit the ground. And he had the helicopter sound going, and it sounded as real as anything you've ever heard. Of course, knowing him, I knew it was fake. But he had pet abuse activists calling in from all around the country, complaining, wanting the station to fire him, and all that kind of stuff. It was one of the funniest things you've ever heard. And then there was one other, let me break.
What was that? WKRP, Cincinnati, Turkey Drop.
He came on the air one morning and said that they had discovered that there was dihydrogen, excuse me if I get this chemical name right, he's dihydrogen phosphate or something like that.
Dihydrogen monoxide.
Was being found in the water supply in Atlanta. And people were calling in, well, what do we do, do we need to boil our water or whatever, I even had the CEO or whoever it is that's responsible for the oversight of the Atlanta water supply called in and said they had tested everything and there was no dihydrogen phosphate in the Atlanta water supply. And I know I'm mispronouncing it, but whatever it is, it's an actual chemical name for water. So what he was telling everybody is there's water in the water supply. And they had the guy from the waterworks in Atlanta call in and say there was no water in waterworks in the water supply. So, Neil Bortz, I really miss him. I listened to him for years and years on the radio, and he was always doing stuff like that. Those are the two best practical jokes I can remember besides War of the Worlds and the one that they did on WKRP in Cincinnati TV show where they were throwing turkeys out there. Throwing turkeys out of the helicopter at Thanksgiving. And the owner of the station, the turkeys were splatting all over the ground. And turkeys could fly. Back to you, gentlemen.
I believe Mr. Carlson said, "As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly." Yeah, and that was dihydrogen monoxide, H2O, dihydrogen, and one oxygen atom, monoxide. So yeah, I remember the dihydrogen monoxide prank with Neil Bortz, but I don't think I was here for the cat story. I had no awareness of that. So, but yeah, dihydrogen monoxide is that's a great one, and I could see where a lot of people would be very concerned. Probably wrote letters to their government officials and campaigned to have people run out of town with pitchforks and torches. But yeah, that's a great one. And the turkey episode on WKRP in Cincinnati is I love that story. That is just, and Les Nessman, in the spirit of the dirigible disaster in New Jersey, the Hindenburg.
What?
The reporter that was reporting that terrible tragedy with the dirigible, the hydrogen balloon.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, that disaster that happened, those people were burned alive in the air, and the reporter crying out, "Oh, the humanity!" And that was Les Nessman on WKRP in Cincinnati, with the turkeys falling from the helicopter and crashing into cars, and he's just emulating that spirit of that. it was really funny, but it's probably online somewhere
on YouTube.
Oh, you can pull it up on YouTube.
You could find that, and it's worth the effort because that was a fantastic
WKRP
episode.
turkey drop. It's there.
Yep. So good stuff. Great stories, Tim. Thank you for bringing those to the air, and glad you made it into the net tonight. Next, we have CW4 Derek in Comer. Derek, did you have anything you wanted to share with the net? Any practical jokes or pranks you'd like to share?
This is CW4 Derek in Comer. Boy, that's a tough act to follow. I wish I'd have got in on the net before that last fella. Man, he had, that dihydrogen monoxide story. I'm sure it was a good one. Back when I was a youngster, I was an apprentice iron worker, and iron workers are notorious for playing practical jokes on each other. And as an apprentice, I was the gopher for a welder, and we're out on this job site that's about a mile across, and we get all set up, and the welder he tells me that he has forgotten the gap rod that he needs to do his welding job. So off I go. He sends me to go talk to Bob. Bob's got some, and Bob, of course, is on the other side of the job site.
You can see where this is going.
Mm-hmm. I love this story. Keep going.
Like the bore stretcher.
Sailboat fuel.
Yes.
Timeout timer got him, and he doesn't know it. I think the timeout timer got you there, Derek. You were just heading out to see Bob for the gas rod.
Anyway, long story short, these fellas send me about a half a dozen times back and forth across this job site. And before long, they have me emptying out a cargo container looking for gap rod. And up comes the superintendent. And let me see if I can let this reset. The superintendent asked me, now he's the big guy on the job, he's the head honcho, and he says, "Hey, Derek, what are you doing?" And I said, I'm looking for gap rod for Phil.
And I'm, had he been a stand-up guy, he'd have told me there was no such thing as gap rod. But of course, he's part of he's on the inline track, and so he tells me, "Oh, Paul's got it," and of course, Paul is on the other side of the job site. Long story short, I walked back and forth across that job site looking for gap rod for 8 hours that day during my pay.
Got him good.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to get Julie to go into O'Reilly to pick up blinker fluid, but she knows there's a trap there, and she won't play along.
The next one to try is muffler bearings.
You know what's really funny is to send Jeff over to O'Reilly looking for a 5-pin relay.
Yeah, but those actually exist.
Not as far as O'Reilly is concerned.
Just not there.
What's the year and model?
Studio G.
What?
Yeah.
That ain't never going to work to power a radio. That's a fuel pump relay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it can't happen. Good stuff. Glad to hear that, Derek. That's a fun story. And I guess, when we're new and young on the job site, that's the right of entry, I guess. A testament to how you're going to handle the stress of getting a task that you are unable to complete. Does the guy stand up for that, or does he fall down and make a mess of himself? So
I'm sure David can attest to this. The other good one is when you get the apprentice up on the scissor lift 19 feet in the air and you hit the battery disconnect so they can't get back down.
Oh.
Right at lunchtime. That's the best one.
Absolutely. That and hiding tools or sending them for board stretchers. Yeah.
Board stretchers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, good stuff. Thanks for bringing that to us tonight, Derek. Glad to have you on the net with us. And that'll bring us next to Cades Cove 41, Tim in Knoxville. Had a tough time copying you, Tim, but let's see if we can get you in here for any practical jokes or pranks that you'd like to share.
I think we missed Atlanta 293. Just up a couple.
Oh, I did, didn't I? All right.
We'll just get him out of order.
He opened the squelch, but that was it. He didn't hold it.
All right, Tim. We're not able to copy that. Not quite holding the repeater there, but we do have you in the log. So we're going to show you as in and out tonight, and it's been brought to my attention that I missed one. So we're going to go to Atlanta 293, Jackson and Calhoun. Hang in there, Pamela. We'll be coming to you shortly. Jackson, do you have any practical jokes or pranks you'd like to share?
That's Tim again.
Yeah.
This is Atlanta 293 at Jackson. Yeah, I appreciate you skipping back to me and catching me on the back end there. I've been a fireman for close to 18 years now, and some of the practical jokes that we've done over the years, and not to be said across the radio, but some of them were pretty good. We used to take and wait until we get back from a fire, and used to get guys taking a shower, and we would get in there and throw a bunch of flour over the top of the shower on top of everybody, and then right before we catch a call, they'd have to come back in their turnout gear with flour all in their stuck to their body and get back in their uniforms over time. I'm gonna break real quick.
That's a good one.
You're a terrible person.
We used to boil eggs, and guys that didn't check off their PPE very well, we would take the boiled eggs and we would go ahead and peel them, and then we'd put them in the pockets. And just get out there and on a hot summer day, and everybody starts saying, "Man, you stink," They start looking around, and they go dig around in their pockets and come up with a nasty handful of rotten eggs.
Oh my God, that's brutal. Oh man,
Is that with friends like that?
Yeah, we were just thinking some of these fireman stories are going to be good. That's
did not disappoint.
I'm just imagining the egg after even after just a few days. Oh boy. Yeah, that's not going to be fun. Good stuff. I appreciate those stories. Did you have anything else?
No, sir. I appreciate getting back with me, and I'm new to the group, so just be trying to check in and get as much contact as I can. I appreciate you.
Very good. Well, glad to have you along, and sorry that I got you out of order there, but we got you back in. So next on my list, I have Cades Cove 41. Well, we've already talked with Tim. Tim, we weren't able to copy enough of that to be able to have a good QSO there. So we're going to show you his in and out tonight and keep right on moving. And that'll bring us to Atlanta 557. Ed checking in on YouTube, in and out. And finally, that brings us to Atlanta 849. Pamela with a comment. Go ahead, Pamela.
Wow, what a story to have to follow. Yeah, I really after this one. I have 2 or 3 little short ones. Can you hear me all right?
Mostly we hear you really well. Every now and then your audio drops way down, but then it comes back. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, if it's a mic cord issue or if the mic is being moved around, but mostly we can hear you.
We fixed the cord, make sure it's okay. All right, my prankster in the family, and we'd be outside sitting in the patio drinking something, and my mom reached to pick up her glass of tea and started screaming. My brother had put ice cubes in there, and they had bugs in them, and it frozen in the ice cube.
That's a good one.
Oh, yeah. I recall one of my kids putting little plastic bugs in the ice cube tray and freezing a whole bunch of ice cubes with little plastic bugs in them. And our daughter was not impressed with that at all. That was a scene, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, the little plastic bugs that they got from some toy store, I don't know where they got them, but they had dozens of them, and they looked like it looked just like a fly, or a spiders and crickets and things like that. Mm-hmm. And they would go to the extent of filling the ice cube tray half full, and then putting the bugs in after that is frozen, and then filling it the rest of the way. And they broke that joke out several times through the years. So that was one of the kids' gags.
That's a good one.
And every time, Brittany was very upset. She not amused. That was a bad
Not
thing.
a fan.
So, yeah, Pamela, I could imagine. Now, were these real bugs?
No, they're the ones just like you're talking about, the ones with the ice cubes that they were at the store, and he found them somehow or other and dropped them in it. I've got another cute one. We were visiting an uncle in Macon, Georgia, and we were cooking out, and a mom reached for her glass of tea again, and the dog decided to deposit his chewed-up beef bone into her tea glass, and she threw it across the yard, and she picked it up and found it.
I imagine the pooch just wanted to share. They're very thoughtful animals in that way.
Yes, they are. And my other one was when I was in high school. I was the only girl in a class of 33 guys in the ROTC Junior Air Force, and the captain came in and told us to stand up at attention, and I was having difficult standing up because the guys had handcuffed me to my desk because it was my birthday.
Huh.
Well, yeah, I would imagine a handcuff to the desk would make it tough, but that's very interesting. Well, speaking of birthdays, it happens to be Atlanta 911's birthday today. So we don't. I don't know. Do we maybe should start trying to recognize people's birthdays? But good stories, Pamela, and thank you for bringing that to us. that pretty much wraps us up, doesn't it?
That brings us to the bottom of the log.
All right. David, you want to close us out? Right here.
Where are we at?
Right here.
All right. Well, this concludes the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. We had a total of
72
chickens, including myself. Net control will now be returning the repeaters to normal use. Everyone who signed in should sign out. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your net control this evening. Good night, everyone. This is Dallas 20, WRKT 728, and
Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
WRWM 344, Blue Ridge 63. My name is Mike.
And Atlanta 750, WRMR 367. My name is Jeff.
We are North Georgia GMRS Network.
And we are clear. Good night, everybody.
Hey, David, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Absolutely.
Good night.
Thanks for having me.
Good night.